awkward. You know, like when you're like asked to tell like an erotic story, I think that like I get thought of that way a lot because I write about sex a lot, but I don't actually have sex. You know, I'm kind of like the designated driver at the orgy. I'm like, you know, anybody need water? Because you know, when I was younger, I was a stripper, and once you do sex work, you just kind of get very casual about it. And then, of course, if you're writing honestly, and sex is such a motivator, but most of the time I don't actually, you know, like it. And, I mean, I dated people for long periods of time without ever seeing them naked. And so then I'm like, okay, you know, asked to tell this story. And I'm like, well, I don't know if I have any erotic stories to tell. And then I was like, oh, but wait. It was a kind of strange situation, like my most recent relationship. So what happened was, I was on the Sex Workers Art Show tour, and went all over the country. And the next year, there was this other girl that went on the Sex Workers Art Show tour, and she was, you know, as beautiful a woman I think that I'd ever seen. And so, you know, I flirted with her, and she didn't flirt back at all. And I was okay, you know, because, you know, basically it's a submissive guy, so I'm not particularly, you know, somebody's like, I'm not into you. I'm like, all right. And then, you know, a couple months later, I get a call from her, and she's like, and she asked me if I would do some pictures with her for her website, which is a dominatrix. And I'm like, okay, because, you know, she's beautiful, but I don't think it's going to be really super hot because, you know, there's going to be all these other people in the room, and a photographer, and I've done pictures before. It's never sexy, but if like it was sexy, and I kind of, you know, I wish I had like a project. I wish I could brought some pictures, but I email me here. But it was, you know, I mean, it was like ridiculous, you know, latex and like fake guns and like, you know, hostage scenario. But there was this like weird magnetic thing, you know, where I didn't care that there was a room full of people like adjusting lights. I was just locked on this woman. I couldn't believe it. And I think she felt the same way. It was so hot that we started like making excuses to do more pictures. You know? Because she was in a monogamous relationship, and it was like as long as someone was taking pictures, it wasn't cheating. It was horrible. And I mean, you know, it just seemed normal at the time, you know? And not really like questioning these things. All right, yeah, sure. And then I'm like, well, let's do an audio tape, you know, or let's do a run through. You know, I'm just trying to come up with excuses. And then you know, and then we're getting to the point where we're literally like having sex while, and it's her ex-boyfriend, the guy she used to date, is the one taking the pictures. I don't even care. I don't even know this guy is in the room. And we're doing like, it's just really, we're taking pictures she's never, ever going to use on her website. Literally, these are not usable photos for this website. And then, you know, at some point in a moment of just like absurdity, I was just like, you know what? It's still cheating. You know, like maybe just say like the wrong thing. I had this thing where I'm just like, I try to be honest, and like I write really honestly, and I'm all being open, and then like I always think, and I kind of got this thing where I think like, well, you know, I think women fetishize honesty, and I think that if you're honest, you can get away with a lot. And so I was like, you know, it's still cheating. She would not talk to me again for months. I mean, that was it. Just cut off, you know. So then I start dating, and this is where the story gets weird. So I start dating this other girl, and she's this like rich lawyer whose parents like give her, your parents are like clear-cutting Malaysia, and they're giving her all this money, and bought her a house in Myrtle Heights, you know, and she wants to be a professional dominatrix. I mean, I can't imagine why she wants to do this. Because she has all this money and she can sleep with whoever she wants, but she wants to do it professionally. And so I'm like, she suggests that she watch me with a dominatrix, and this way she'll learn how to do things. I said, well, I know somebody. girlfriend pays like my ex-girlfriend, I guess. I don't know if girlfriend's the right term. Someone who takes pictures and have sex with you, but and we do this scene in front of the girl I'm dating pays like $300 for me to have this scene with this professional dominatrix who I'm, basically in love with, and it is amazing, It's really, really good when you pay for something. And it's 2 hours, but by this time, months later, she stopped dating her boyfriend and got on like a break. Except that the thing about the break, well, I'm going to get there's some weird rules about the break. But anyway, to skip ahead a little bit, it's like now like all three of us are dating. But now it's weird. Now she's now with a boyfriend, but she's like pushing me away a lot. So like come over and I'll hang out with her, and it's like we'll have 4 hours together. 3.5 hours would be all the reasons why this can never work. This can't work. It feel right, you've done this, I've done that, and then like the last half hour she'll be like, coming to bed. And I started to figure it out. It's like rejection is foreplay. Like, wait, you always get there. I just have to like go through the motions. Like, oh, but baby, and like you can do this. And like, no, I think so fine. And then she say, well, there's no pants rule on the bed, and then okay, it's like truth is stranger than fiction. Ultimately, you couldn't write a story like this because nobody would believe it. And then, but it's one of those things where like I knew this was this doomed situation. I'm dating I'm in love with this woman, and I'm dating this other woman who's rich and beautiful, and we're all together, and we don't have anything to talk about. It's all full of stupid, none of it makes any kind of sense. I'm just like, I just want to ride this out. I just want to go. It's just as long as I can do this for. I'm just going to keep doing it, and it turned out not to be that long. Ultimately, I just remember. I just want to say that I remember that, like, when you're in, she smelled a certain way, and you're in love when somebody smells a certain way, and you know that nobody smells like that. You know that like this is like something psychoactive in your mind is creating this smell. It's just impossible to always smell that way, all the time. And I should shower and everything. I was in love with this person, but I guess she was kind of nuts, or we were all kind of nuts, And ultimately, she went back to work. Oh, and the rule of the breakup, actually, I forgot to say this, was that they were taking a break from each other, and they were allowed to ask each other one thing, and his rule was that she could not have sex with me. That was like, totally unfair. What do you mean? Like only me, like anybody else was okay, but not with me. So basically it would be like 3.5 hours of rejection, and then I would go down on her for half an hour, and then we'd go back to our lives. My life, I took pictures of her, and her life, like doing whatever she's doing. And but then so she goes back to her boyfriend because she's Asian. She doesn't believe that Asian women should date white guys. And so she went back. And what else? Like, get a job. I mean, there's other things. My other relationship just deteriorates, and everything's fine. And then, so I remembered that. I thought, well, that was kind of odd. And then also, but I'll just close by saying, I started. Then very recently, I started dating someone, like seriously, like kind of seriously. I mean, it was the most dating I've done in a long time. Was like a girlfriend, and then I just sent this woman an email. I said, you want to do some pictures? So I'll leave it at that.